Hello everybody, this is video number two in a series on how to draw this 1-point perspective room based off of my Fortnite video. And the last video that you're going to want to check out, we drew the basic structure of this room using 1-point perspective. 1-point perspective is a technique that has been around since the Renaissance. It's been around for like almost 500 years. And artists have been using this technique to make an optical illusion so it looks like everything is going back into space in this room. Today we're going to focus on this brick texture for this back wall. And there's a lot of different ways you could do this. I have a couple of ones in progress here. Here's one where we're going to draw lines across. We want to make these guidelines so that we know exactly how wide to make all the bricks. And here's another one with all the bricks drawn in. These guidelines I made a little bit fatter. I have taller bricks. But let's go back here to our original picture. If you're using a ruler that has marked measurements on it, you can even go and measure and put a little tick mark, a little mark by every, say, 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 of an inch, depending on how big you want these bricks to be. I think for this video, I'm going to do a 1/2 inch. And then whatever you do on one side, you have to do on the other. So I'm putting a little mark wherever my ruler has the 1/2 inch mark. If you don't have a ruler that has measurements on it, you can just kind of eyeball it and try and draw some lines across and try and keep them as even looking as possible. Think about like the blue lines that are on a notebook page. Think about when you were in kindergarten and you were learning how to write your name and they gave you those papers with the big fat lines on them so you can write your letters straight. This is the same idea here. I'm just going to very lightly in pencil go across and draw these lines in so that my bricks look nice and straight. Okay, and those are my lines. After I have my lines drawn, it's time to go in and add the bricks. Let's look at one that's finished up here. What's the most important part of this brick pattern is that when you draw the bricks on top of each other, you're not directly stacking them on top of each other. You're shifting the next row off to the side a little bit so that they're staggered. So what I mean by that is if I'm going to go ahead and draw my first row of bricks in, notice how I'm kind of rounding the corners out so they look a little bit more worn. And I am trying my best to try and keep these bricks to a nice consistent size. Okay, I had a little 1/2 brick there at the end added. So if that's my first row of bricks, my next row is going to be shifted over. So I'm going to start, if I start it with a whole brick here, I'm going to have to start with a 1/2 of a one. And you see how the end of this brick comes about at the halfway point of the brick below it. Then I can go ahead and start drawing full bricks in and keeping them staggered. Okay, what you don't want to do is stack these bricks up. So let me show you on the back. This is not what you want to do. If this is your row of bricks going across, you don't want your next row to go directly above them because that's not really how bricks are put or blocks are put when you build a building. They're always staggered. And you're just going to go ahead and fill your row of bricks in this way. If you want to leave a little window or like a little space where like maybe somebody busted through the wall or the wall's falling apart, you're just not going to draw the bricks there at that spot. So I'm going to kind of like skip a brick here to make that little window. And then when I do the next row, I'm going to put a 1/2 of a brick in and I'm going to leave this even further open. I'll put my 1/2 brick here. So I'm making an even wider gap. And then I'm going to start to close it in on the next row. Okay, I can't put a brick here because there's nothing below it to support it. You have to think as if you were building, actually building in real life, that brick wall. See, this one is okay because it gets supported by the one below it, but I can't draw a brick in here. That's going to be a problem. Now this brick's being held up by this one, and this brick's being held up by this one. And I can finish drawing those in. Okay, and there you have the brick wall. Stay tuned for our next video. I'm going to show you how to work on this tile floor using 1 point perspective.